performances, but yet to break the top cut at a solid 10-1 record. Will be going up against finalists at the 2023 San Diego Regional Championships. It is going to be Nathan Ginsburg.
Yeah, Nathan Ginsburg on Mega Absol Box here. We've seen a couple times on stream, doing really well this event. Has been playing a lot of different decks this season, Pidgeot Control, Goldengo, but here going with that Absol Box. And looking at the prizes, nothing crazy for either player. I mean, the Jumbo Ice Cream Cone is at the bottom of the prizes, but that healing's really big in a matchup against something like Grimmsnarl, where they're doing a lot of damage onto your board, your Frostlass, the Shadow Bullet Snipe, and then Zach with that one Grimmsnarl prize means it could be a little awkward only having access to one, as most Grimmsnarl lists are typically only playing 2 copies.
It does have a solid amount of those recovery cards, which will, of course, be important to note and think about in this matchup. It looks like just the one copy of actually just playing Night Stretcher, so no Super Rod in this deck. So keep note of that as we get into things here, kicking it off. Round number 12. Nathan Ginsburg at 9-0-2, Zach Cohen at 10 wins, 1 loss. So one more match point here for Zach. And if he is able to win this match and get to 11 wins, will essentially lock himself up a spot for top cut. Nathan's going to have to put in a little bit more work if he wants to get there, but it definitely starts for both players with getting a victory in this round.
Yep, and Nathan here starting the Mega Kangaskhan. Perfect starter going first. I mean, you usually want to be going second, use that Arven to get Precious Trolley and Technical Machine Turbo energized, but starting Kangaskhan and now having Pokegear for Cypher Maniacs for next turn means you're going to be able to pick whatever cards you want, run Aaron, draw both of them, and set up your board really quickly. And going first, you have those extra 2 cards from Run Aaron, and setting up this Monkey Dory really quickly is really important against a deck like Grimmsnarl, where, as I mentioned, those Frostlasses just build a lot of damage, and you want to be moving it over, healing your board, and really playing to the strength of those Mega Pokemon, just having so much HP.
So no super high roll, no Precious Trolley going first, but a solid turn, as you mentioned. Energy on Monkey Dory. It will be a war of attrition between Monkey Dory on both players' sides. Piper, kind of talk us through how the Monkey Dory, battles back and forth, or rather support, as they're really not getting in and attacking and just using Adrenabrain, is important in a matchup like this.
There's a few things to note that some Mega Absolists are only going down to 2 Monkey Dories now, and the Grimmsnarls have been going from 3 to 4 Monkey Dories recently, so typically Grimmsnarl is favored in having more Monkey Dories in play. And with the Frostlass, they're able to build damage on their board and the opposing Monkey Dories to move damage and overwhelm the Monkey Dories on the opposing side. So we're going to see Zach try to set up those Monkey Dories, but Frostlass isn't as strong against the Mega Absol deck, as you're not getting damage on that Mega Absol, and you have to be scared of attacking into it with the Grimmsnarl, as if Nathan is able to set up 2 Monkey Dories of his own and use 2 Adrenabrains, then the Grimmsnarl will fall prey to a terminal period.
Damage counters being moved back and forth. Definitely important to note. Zach will get set up here with the perfect card. Secret Box from the hand. No supporter played yet, and it is just turn 1. Getting rid of the Arven, fetching out Iono from the deck instead, and does also opt to get rid of the Artisan Stadium. So maybe not being as concerned about the Stadium War throughout this game. It will be the 1 copy of Buddy Buddy Poffin as the item of choice, so that will grab some of these basic Pokemon. We see immediately potentially eyeing up a second Snorunt. You talked about Frostlass not being effective to put damage counters onto the board, but it looks like we're foregoing even getting Impidimp in this spot.
Well, we do have that Spike City Gym to grab an Impidimp at any point. And Zach here, realizing that Nathan just got a Cypher Maniacs off this Pokegear and didn't play Precious Trolley, so we'll be able to Itchy Pawn here. But instead, choosing the Lily's Determination instead of even though grabbing that Iono off the Secret Box, I expected seeing Nathan grabbing the Cypher Maniacs was going to Iono, get that to the bottom, and make it so that Itchy Pawn would be super strong, but looking to go for the Technical Machine Evolution this turn instead, probably getting Frostlass and that Morgrem into play.
Yeah, yet to use that Spike Myth Gym, so can find 8 cards. If there is something like an Impidimp found, that could be fetched. It looks like that will not be the case, however. A lot of supporter cards, energy, no Monkey Dory quite yet. It's definitely going to be a card Zach's going to want to eye up on the following turn, so it will be the Impidimp selected here from the Spike Myth Gym, and we'll see that Technical Machine Evolution end the turn off with this Morgrem coming into play and a Snorunt, but actually shuffling the deck up. See if that is the attack of choice. And no, we're actually going to see this retreat, so not going to use this use this evolution, instead going into Budu, even having knowledge, though, that Nathan has that Cypher Maniac in hand.
Yeah, it seems like Zach was kind of keeping his options open before using that Laser Determination by attaching that Technical Machine Evolution and the energy to the Snow Run because it allows you to retreat or use that Technical Machine Evolution. But as we keep mentioning, there is that Cypher Maniacs in Nathan's hand, so he will just have access to Pokemon and Technical Machine Turbo Energizes to be able to set up even under this Itchy Pollen. And this really shows the strength of these players choosing to play Cypher Maniacs in the Mega Absol box deck instead of the Lily's Determination.
So there it is, that Cypher Maniacs code-breaking effect we've seen printed throughout the history of the Pokemon TCG in many different forms and iterations, most recently as that Mallow supporter card from the Sun and Moon era, allowing you to search your deck for 2 cards, then you shuffle, then you put it on top. Pairs perfectly with this Mega Kangaskhan EX. It pretty much just says search your deck for 2 cards and put them into your hand. That's a pretty powerful effect, and we'll see that be put to great use. No items played, so it will most likely just be an Pokemon itself, something like that Mega Absol or another Monkey Dory if there's maybe a pair of those 2. Already having the Turbo Energize and the Basic Energy means that could be the 2 cards realistically here chosen for Nathan. I'm sure we'll definitely see one of those be that Mega Absol, however.
Absolutely, looking to power that up and start using Terminal Period or Claw of Darkness and get rid of those resources from Zach's hand. I mean, you can get rid of recovery cards, energies, Monkey Dories, Boss's Orders. I mean, a lot of these Grimstar lists are playing heavier boss, and that really just limits their options because, as I mentioned earlier, they really don't want to attack into this Mega Absol and give you a ton of damage to be able to Terminal Period. But Nathan, they're just revealing what he's getting. I mean, they're getting drawn and benched pretty much immediately anyway, so little bit of a shortcut there. Yeah,
a little bit of a shortcut. You know, you can always kind of bluff and show that those are not the 2 cards that you grabbed and kind of sequence things this way. But yeah, it's going to be, you know, knowledge is power, especially in the Pokemon TCG. So Zach's going to get information that the rest of the hand may contain some non-Pokemon cards, something like supporters or energies towards it. So we'll see a sort of a budget precious trolley come out here. It's not going to be able to be played thanks to that Itchy Pollen, but with this perfect combination of cards, thanks to that early turn of a run errand previously, Nathan's going to have the combination here to pretty much do exactly what he wants to on the second turn of the game.
Yeah, you said it's a budget precious trolley, but I mean, Nathan has all the Pokemon he could want in play. I mean, that Mega Kangaskhan, the Mega Absol, gonna get some energies off this Turbo Energize, and a couple of Monkey Dories here. Really just, if he puts an energy on the second Monkey Dory, Zach's gonna be behind 2 Monkey Dories in that Monkey Dory trade that we were kind of talking about earlier, but going for 2 energies on the Mega Absol instead, just trying to get that pressure with the Claw of Darkness and energy discard, or resource discards.
Either way, you know, if you get an energy attachment to the Absol or the Monkey, it kind of does the same thing in this spot. Realistically, you know, your opponent could attack with Grimmsnarl this turn, but seems like you're setting yourself up for success as long as you've got yourself an energy card. And more importantly, that one Pokemon missing would be something like the Petrunt or Latios. Just allow this Mega Kangaskhan, which is a bit hefty to move out of the active spot.
For sure. The one issue with Petrunt is it is going to be building up a little bit extra damage on your board, which could be a little scary as Grimmsnarl loves having damage on your board and just messing around with that, making big plays. But here, Zach going with an aggressive Rare Candy for Grimmsnarl, only getting 1 energy off this Punk Up.
Interesting choice. Has to think about maybe what the rest of the hand is going to be. Really not committing an energy card to the hand from Monkey Dory down the line could definitely be an interesting factor. There's no energy cards prized, so we'll have to see what Zach is thinking about in this line.
Yeah, here attaching to the Grimmsnarl, just conceding the fact that he doesn't think he's going to find the Monkey Dark off whatever supporter he uses. Maybe, going for the Boss's Orders on that Monkey Dory. Yep, just pressuring those Monkey Dories. Nathan already ahead of Monkey Dory and Zach not establishing one this turn. Taking this Monkey Dory kind of resets the board to them both having 0 Monkey Dories with a Dark Energy ready.
Okay, so it will be the Shadow Bullet taking a KO. This means that, as it stands right now, Nathan's not going to be able to return KO this Grimmsnarl with something like the Terminal Period. There's just not enough damage on the board. So 30 damage on the Absol. Kangaskhan gets promoted, and a nice top deck there in that Latios EX could allow this to potentially pivot out of the active spot this turn if it so chooses to.
Yeah, and Zach here, his board is just looking so weak. All these Snow Runs and this Budu. This Budu is just waiting to get knocked out by an Adrenabrain at any point during this game. And Nathan here, just these Mega Pokemon have so much HP, and Absol has no ability. It's really hard for Grimmsnarl to be able to get through these big Pokemon.
It did find energy switch off of the top of the deck, so Nathan could choose to power up Monkey Dory and attack with Claw of Darkness this turn if he so chooses to.
Yeah, the one thing to watch out for, though, is he is only playing 1 energy switch. A lot of these Mega Absolists are playing 2, so do you want to commit it that early or save it for a bigger play where you're using an extra Adrenabrain later?
So Supporter of Turn not played just yet. It looks like Options Arven and Penny in the hand. It will be Arven of the supporter for choice. And it will just grab some energy out of the deck thanks to Earthen Vessel as well as the Bravery Charm to just add a little bit more HP to one of these Mega Pokemon.
Yeah, and you can also use it on the Monkey Dory, make it so that when Zach gets those Frostlasses and his Monkey Dory set up, that it's not in range of getting Shadow Bulleted off the bench. So just kind of keeping it protected. And yeah, looking to attach that Absol, maybe thinking about that Energy Switch play. Could also always Energy Switch off the Kangaskhan to the Monkey Dory. A lot of options here for Nathan.
Yeah, definitely more ideal to get that off for sure. We'll most likely see that energy, like you mentioned, go on to this Mega Absol, allowing Claw of Darkness to be used. Zach does have a pretty large hand size, so you'll most likely not be shutting him off from, making major gameplay options like playing a supporter card or finding some Pokemon, but stripping away resources still a very valuable effect that Claw of Darkness is able to provide. So we'll see the energy attachment for turn, does have that Bravery Charm, and the Latias Skyliner, allowing this Mega Kangaskhan to retreat for free. It is always interesting to note, though, with that Latias, being weak to Dark does present some issues later down the line, and it looks like we're actually going to be avoiding this Grimmsnarl, really trying to capitalize off of something like Terminal Period for the following turns to try and take a one-hit KO.
Yeah, I mean, Zach just used the Boss's Orders last turn, and now you're going to be looking at his hand to discard a card. If there's another Boss's Orders, can discard it, and a lot of these Grimmsnarl lists are only playing 2. I mean, Zach plays 3, but really just lowers the odds of finding a Boss's Orders play. No counter catcher active since both players are going to 5 prizes. And now just looking at what Nathan wants to discard, I'm assuming it's going to be this Night Stretcher, Dark Energy, or Iono. Lily's is only getting Zach 6 cards, so Iono is just going to be one of those more important tools throughout the game. And recovery cards are always something that Absol wants to target. Just limit the options.
Checking the discard pile, seeing what is available, what has been used so far in this game. Gonna take another look, see if there's something that was missed the first time. And it is going to be the Night Stretcher like you mentioned, it seems. So getting rid of that resource, preventing Pokemon or energy cards from being recovered. Zach does top deck the Ultra Ball for turn. So can finally choose to either get this Monkey Dory into play or that Frostlass. Both are now options.
Yeah, I think just already having the Dark Energy, prioritizing the Monkey Dory is going to be a little bit more important here. And especially because getting the Frostlass into play, Nathan already has 30 damage on that Absol, could really get you in an awkward spot from Terminal Period. I'm thinking that Zach may just end up Itchy-Pawing this turn, get this Absol to 50 damage. That's not enough for 2 Adrenabrains, but you also prevent Energy Switch and Pokegears, Nest Balls, all these kind of cards to just keep Nathan's board really small right now.
So now just deciding what 2 cards to discard from the hand off of Ultra Ball. Let's have a few supporter cards. We saw the copies of Iono in the hand, and is actually going to discard this Dark Energy. So this signals to me, Piper, we're going to see Frostlass get grabbed.
Yeah, the Frostlass is going to be building up the damage. So if we do go with that Itchy-Pawn that I mentioned, still getting damage on the bench, and kind of safe from the Terminal Period play since there's no energy on any Monkey Dory, and there's a Monkey Dory in the discard. With Itchy-Pawn, there's no Nest Balls to get more Monkey Dories, Night Stretchers, etc. No Energy Switch plays, and it really just limits what Nathan can do. And now Zach going with his Iono. Nathan having the Absol in the active isn't going to have easy access to this Kangaskhan with no Petch in play, so isn't going to have draw on the next turn.
Yeah, and as it stands, even with a Shadow Bullet, it would require Nathan to have some sort of combination of Energy Switch plus a Dark Energy off of 5 cards. It is a little bit to ask for, especially with an Arven in the discard pile, Cypher Maniac on as well. And that may be what Zach is debating here. Can he afford to take this risk? It's a little bit more disincentivizing, I must say, though, Piper, being down that 1 copy of Rare Candy already.
For sure, but if he knows Nathan's list, I mean, there's only 2 Monkey Dories, one of them is already in the discard pile, and 1 Energy Switch. It's really unlikely for Nathan to be able to find this play, so could be Zach knowing some of the choices in Nathan's list and just going for this play where saying that if Nathan finds all the pieces, he's going to be in a really bad spot, but the odds of it are low enough that this just puts Zach in a really solid spot if he can knock out the Absol on the next turn.
Do you see Nest Ball plus Night Stretcher? If Nathan does have a way to find Pecharunt plus grab these 2 cards, I think Nathan might actually have the combination here, thanks to that Run Errand plus Cypher Maniac to be able to Terminal Period this active.
Yeah, with this Pecharunt, can retreat into that Kangaskhan. Cypher Maniac's the Energy Switch and Dark Energy to the top, Run Errand to draw into them, use the Night Stretcher on that Monkey Dory, and use both Adrenabrains, and then Pecharunt back into that Absol, and then as we mentioned, Zach is down that Rare Candy already. Can't really attack with anything other than this Budu or, yeah, I mean, Nathan only going to 3 prizes. Can't use Blood Moon Ursaluna yet. not a ton of options for Zach if Nathan's able to put together this terminal period.
Yeah, this is where list information is just so valuable in a spot like this. Taking a risk, you never know if your opponent does have that second copy of Rare Candy. It would actually be leaving the Stadium card in play as well. But this is where you've got to really think about how knowledge is power in the Pokemon TCG. We'll see the Cypher Maniac be used. I saw him eyeing up that Jumbo Ice Cream Cone as well. He's just debating, you know, can he afford to go all in and accept the fact that if this Absol does fall, it would put him in a world of hurt.
Yeah, I mean, the Jumbo Ice Cream Cone, if you can use that with the 2 Monkey Dories, healing 140 damage from this Absol, putting it down to 50, I believe, or just really low damage, kind of erasing what Zach did on the last turn, and just getting rid of the Marnie's Grimstar.
Wow. Had double Night Stretcher in hand, not even just the single, so can afford to do all of this and protect that Absol as well. So Nathan drawing into the perfect combination of cards, Nest Ball plus double Night Stretcher off of this Iono, and if he's able to play things correctly here, he'll be able to take a KO onto this active, as well as being able to make sure Absol is pretty much safe from anything that Zach can throw it at next turn.
Yeah, really playing around that second Rare Candy, as we mentioned, and the best part is this energy on the Kangaskhan can be moved, so now Nathan has the 2 Monkey Dory setup. In some situations, you're forced to move the 1 energy from 1 monkey to the other, and then you only have 1, but here there's 2. And with the Jumbo Ice Cream Cone, kind of just negating all that damage. Yeah, putting it down to 80. Gonna go to 90 with that Petch damage, but Zach with only 1 Monkey Dory and not much damage on his board is just a little too weak down that Rare Candy. I don't know what he's gonna be able to put together here.
So Nathan, with an absolutely incredible combination of cards, found everything off of that Iono, is able to stunt and get the KO, and that Budu is still in play for Zach. It's going to be an easy easy prize card next turn for Nathan. And Zach now being down that Rare Candy with just a single Morgrim, a single Morgrim potentially in play off of this Spike with Jim is really going to be shut out of this game, it seems.
Yeah, just immediately evolving into that Morgrim, which is going to be a sigh of relief for Nathan, just not even scared of the Grimstar this turn, not having to worry about it at all. Yeah, it's going to be up to Zach to try to find something to do. I mean, yeah, not playing any Yveltal. I mean, couldn't even use the Yveltal with the Petron in play. And yeah, it's just looking like it's a little too late, and there's not a ton Zach can do. The doors are slowly closing.
Yeah, and to me, how quickly that Morgrim was evolved, if anything, was just a huge signal of no second Rare Candy. You know, if you had that second candy, you'd maybe consider a little bit longer before evolving it, and that may be the reassurance that is important to Nathan in this set to be able to go after more aggressive plays like this.
Yeah, I mean, Zach using that boss's orders instead of something like a counter catcher could be also signaling to Nathan that he had no supporter to find that second Rare Candy, so it may be something you still need to be careful of in the future sets, but definitely something to also maybe not be as scared about.
It will just be the boss's orders plus Itchy Pollen, so this Petrant going to 30 damage onto it, the ticks from Freezing Shroud. If Nathan can find himself a boss's orders here, this game will be completely wrapped up, taking Morgrim out of play. Seems like you just slam that down right away if you had it. Can still draw 2 cards if he so chooses to, thanks to Skyliner plus that Subjugating Chains ability. Has the boss's orders already, so Nathan is maybe just thinking through some semantics here. Feels like there's no real reason to not just go after this Morgrim yet again this turn. There is always the threat of Blood Moon Ursaluna, but it seems even with that, you've got enough damage on your board to just be able to maybe take these last 2 prize cards.
Yeah, and also Grimstar with Blood Moon Ursaluna can't really reuse it turn after turn. It's really just there to get those last couple prize cards once all your Grimstars are knocked out. And using it when you're at 5 prize cards is just not the recipe for success.
So yet to use any Adrenabrain so far. We'll also be able to Claw of Darkness this turn as well to remove another resource out of Zach's already weak 2-card hand. So things going perfectly here for Nathan. We're almost 20 minutes through this first game, so time is definitely another factor to be thinking about here, you know, on both players' sides, but especially for Zach when you're in what is almost certainly an unwinnable spot. It seems very tough at that for sure.
Yeah, it's an unwinnable spot in an unfavorable matchup, it feels, and Zach, it would be content with a tie since we usually think X2-1 is going to be safe for the asymmetrical. So I think just playing it out, trying to get more list information. We've said time and time again, these lists, oh, there's just a scoop, but yeah, these absolute lists just are so flexible, so trying to get as much knowledge as possible for the next few games.
Absolutely dominating game here for Nathan. That huge swing turn off Iono of just having 3 desirable pieces before using that Cypher Maniac was really that turning point there for Nathan.
Absolutely. The Cypher Maniac really just showing its strength with the run Aaron, just finding all those pieces, putting together any combination, and Nathan was just able to get all those basic Pokemon. So I wonder, kind of going back to that first turn, I mean, we saw Zach Secret Box for Iono. Maybe if he had used that Iono, Nathan had shown off the Pokegear that he had Cypher Maniacs in hand. Iono plus Itchy Pollen could have maybe got GINSBURG, or Nathan to miss the trolley, miss those basics, and have a pretty weak board.
We'll take a look back on that first game, see how things broke down between both these players. It was the early use of Grimmsnarl targeting down Monkey Dory that provided a little bit of safety for Zach to play around terminal period, but you can only run from Absol for so long. It's going to get you, and it absolutely did. So that combination of cards off of this, Iono was able to terminal period, take the KO, set up double Monkey Dory, and just Zach not being able to respond with a KO, being down that rare candy was a huge turning point in this game as Nathan was able to secure things the following turn.
Yeah, you mentioned that was one of the downsides of using the rare candy, and we really saw just the weakness of only one. And yeah, with the ice cream cone, there's just not enough damage for Zach to be able to put any pieces together.
As these players do get set up, looks like Nathan taking a few mulligan cards, so we'll be a little bit more assistance to Zach going into the second game. We'll almost certainly see Zach choose to go second. That is going to be the case. Big advantage, you know. Nathan, you know, relatively setting up well. You've always got to think about how those early Itchy Pollens can affect, you know, a trolley-based build like Nathan's. You do have the Cypher Maniac to kind of, you know, set up some balance, so to say. In terms of, you know, being able to find Pokemon like we saw in game number 1, but you really still be wanting to use Arven early on in the game to get that precious trolley.
Yeah, and using the Cypher for Pokemon early kind of feels bad because we saw how impactful it was on those key turns, so taking a Cypher Maniacs out of your deck just really weakens your potential later. So yeah, Zach taking that mulligan and then off to it. Nathan going first. Starts the Veltal, so easy access to a Kangaskhan with a Nest Ball. But looking at the hand, has the energy attach and a Mega Absol, but no Kangaskhan from the looks of it, so it looks like Zach will probably be looking to Itchy Pollen and just try to limit Nathan's setup as much as possible.
And also attaching the Bravery Charm, so shutting off something like Turbo Energize for the following turn. Thanks to that Pokemon having a tool card, as Zach just rips one of those too early popping on turn 1. That's a dream scenario here for Grimmsnarl.
Absolutely, and I think I saw his Secret Box in his hand again, opened it last game and opened it again this game. Grimmsnarl seems to be a Secret Box magnet, and looking at these prize cards, 2 Arven could be a little awkward, but at the same time, Arven is not that amazing, but that one Budu that we mentioned is prized. I mean, not going to be able to slow Nathan's setup. Gonna let him Arven for that precious trolley.
Yeah, being able to, unable to being able to use Budu this turn could be a huge factor, as Precious Trolley, Arven, both options that would set up a lot for Nathan to just get these basic Pokemon into play. So that is definitely going to be a missed opportunity for Zach, and instead, it's going to have to lean into something like the Technical Machine Evolution to get Pokemon into play. It's obviously still a great way to end your turn, and it's going to be made possible thanks to the Secret Box, but you know, that was a potential option that could really have stunted Nathan in the second game.
Yeah, a big difference from the last game, though, is this Technical Machine Evolution will be used by a Monkey Dory, which means it's going to have a Dark Energy. So Zach already going to be ahead on that Monkey Dory race between the two players. And here, getting that second Buddy Poffin, probably looking to maybe get a second Snorunt like we saw in the last game, and also thin it out of the deck. And a Spike Myth to get a Grimmsnarl on the next turn, maybe a second Impidimp this turn.
And already having the Dark Energy, so not needing to spin the wheel with that Lily's Determination to find that energy card. So here we go, the whole squad is here, coming out with those Buddy Poffins. It will be the second Impidimp, and we'll have to see if we'll see another Snorunt come down. Frostlass didn't have a huge impact last game, but still gonna fill the bench up here with Snorunt. I feel like you've really got to get those Monkey Dories down in this matchup, it seems.
Yeah, I think the big reason we didn't see Frostlass do too much last game is because there were no Monkey Dories. Zach can't play them too aggressively because then the damage will build up too much on your board as well. That's one of the downsides of Grimmsnarl. I mean, we've seen time and time again, sometimes they go for the double Frostlass and then damage just piles up on their board and they lose the game because of that.
We're going to actually see the Spike Myth Gym be used this turn, so this could actually be signaling here of an end turn without playing a supporter card. So Zach's going to actually hold on to this Lily's Determination and just be content using this evolution and then drawing cards next turn, since he can guaranteed grab this Grimmsnarl as well thanks to that Stadium.
Yeah, and Nathan eyeing up an Iono, really not the supporter you want to be using. You want to Arven, get that precious Trolley and Turbo Energize and start setting up the board. Really just not the greatest start for Nathan here. Still has that Yveltal in the active to be able to retreat into a Kangaskhan, draw some more cards.
Yeah, he can still play item cards this turn. Does find the Mega Kangaskhan, but really not a lot else going on in this hand. Does have an energy drop, was able to bench Monkey Dory the turn before. I believe that was the top deck for turn. So can use this run errand, and if he can find a Turbo Energize here, this would be a huge rip. Let's see, 2 big cards. It does not find it, though. It's just that Erica's, which can't be played, as well as a Pokegear for next turn. So solid cards to work off for the future. But as of right now, it's going to have to be the slow old approach, it seems. Attaching energy every turn. Really missing these, missing these Turbo Energize can be pretty detrimental to this deck, though.
Yeah, I mean, you're losing out on a lot of energy attaches because here we see Nathan attaching to this Monkey Dory potentially, thinking about it, but that's not pressuring a Claw of Darkness next turn. And if you don't do it, then you don't have a threat of a second Monkey next turn, so really just missing on those extra energies. I got the missed energy on that Absol just to try to keep the pressure on. Makes a lot of sense.
Not much else to do, passing the turn back over to Zach. So it seems that the ball is in the court of Zach's turn this time. We'll have to see what he has. That Grimmsnarl did get put to the bottom of the deck thanks to Iono, and is down another one as well as a Night Stretcher because of that secret box. So with Claw of Darkness, you've always got to be careful to sort of manage these recovery cards. It looks like Monkey Dory Dark Energy in the hand to start things off, so solid so far for Zach. We'll see what he can top things off. He will have a guaranteed Grimmsnarl thanks to that Spike Myth Gym, which he'll go ahead and play right now to just search through the deck.
Yeah, I just got a glimpse at Zach's hand, and I think he drew 3 Monkey Dory and 3 Dark Energy off that Iono. Top deck the Night Stretcher, so really just going to be relying on this one Grimmsnarl, hoping the Spike Myth stays in play another turn so it can get a Morgrim. And yeah, it's going to be, if Nathan can use that Claw of Darkness next turn, really just take out a lot of those resources with just so many great cards in the hand. Dark Energies, Night Stretcher, and Zach is going to have to retreat an energy off this Monkey Dory this turn.
This is one of the issues with this Grimmsnarl deck that many players have, sort of noted in a spot like this. It can just be relatively inconsistent during portions. Lily's Determination has definitely been a helpful addition to the deck, but it can just sort of struggle. It doesn't have, a built-in draw engine, something like a Mega Kangaskhan, something like, Pheasantipity in this deck. It really can just struggle to find cards in the early to mid-game. We will see the Night Stretcher actually bring back this Grimmsnarl EX, so kind of the best of both worlds, it seems, at this point. There is now the consideration of where to place these 2 damage counters from the Adrenabrain ability. Just double checking the Mist Energy. You can use Adrenabrain onto a Pokemon with Mist Energy. It does only prevent the effects of attacks. Yeah. However, it wouldn't necessarily change too much. It feels like you would still need 2 attacks with Shadow Bolt to KO. Even with a Jumbo Ice Cream Cone, it would still take a lot of Adrenabrains to get that KO. It's still going to go ahead and just place damage counters. It's never, a bad bet to just put them on the biggest threat on the board. So will be 2 damage counters on Mega Absol, Shadow Bullet being used. So Mega Kangaskhan going to just 110 HP remaining and choosing to put some damage counters onto this Absol plus the Monkey Dory ticks thanks to that from that Freezing Shroud.
Yeah, a bit surprised to not see extra damage go on that Monkey Dory, as it doesn't have an energy yet, so really just pressuring Nathan to find another Monkey Dory, which is going to take Frost Blast damage. But on to Nathan's turn, draws an Arven, has a Pokegear, a lot of options available, still has that run errand, looking to use that first. Or maybe, starting with the Spike Myth, just to shuffle the deck. I think there were some cards on the bottom from the Iono last turn, and just kind of checking what's available. Maybe trying to Pokegear for Cypher Maniacs, or use the Arven first, thin out cards. Precious Trolley not only takes a Precious Trolley out of your deck, but also a lot of basic Pokemon. So typically they start with that sequence. But looking at these prize cards, the Latios being prized could be a big hit for the mobility of Nathan's board.
Yeah, just having to rely off that Petra. We saw how important it was to be able to pivot twice between Pokemon in that previous game. So a hindrance that could be worth noting in game number 2. We'll now use that Run Errand ability. So drawing 2 cards, it's going to need to find some help off the top. It does find a Penny, as well as a Nest Ball, and this is an interesting choice here. If there was something like a Turbo Energize, could maybe have warranted something like that Penny of a supporter for choice, just to kind of negate that last turn from Zach and buy a turn to put some energy into play. But without that being an option here, how does Nathan want to approach this turn?
I mean, could still use the Penny on the Kangaskhan, maybe attach to the Absol and use a Claw of Darkness, but eyeing up some energies, looks like Nathan's going to just concede the fact that this Mega Kangaskhan is going to get knocked out next turn. And use Turbo Energize? Yeah, putting the Arven to the front of the hand, likely signifying that's what he's going to go for.
Yeah, would allow this board to pretty much be perfect. Otherwise, you'd get energies on both Monkey Dories, and assuming your opponent can't take a KO on one of them, you would put yourself in a spot where you start threatening multiple terminal periods back to back onto Grimmsnarl, but it just seems like the 3 prize advantage is just so powerful when there's a Blood Moon Ursaluna to back things up in the back.
Yeah, and with all the damage building up, I mean, Nathan's going to set up these Monkey Dories. Oh, can't counter catcher, but
Yep.
Nathan, even if he sets up these Monkey Dories, can't use them this turn, can't heal the board at all. So there's still this 20 damage on that one bench Monkey Dory, going to take another tick from the Frostlass, going to 30. And with Zach having 2 Monkey Dories on the board, and we know he has a Dark Energy in hand, is potentially going to be able to take 4 prizes on this turn, knocking out the Mega Kangaskhan and the Monkey Dory, which also gets one of those Adrenabrains from Nathan, which means it's going to be harder for him to put together a terminal period on the next turn.
So there it is, powering up both Monkey Dories. Pokemon taking those ticks, 10 damage in between turns thanks to that Freezing Shroud ability. There's no help for the top of the deck for Zach. It looks like just a Spike Myth Gym. Already one of those in play. Can still use it to grab out that second Grimmsnarl EX from the deck.
Yeah, I think that's a good option just because you want it in play as if Nathan were to like bump your Stadium and then use Claw of Darkness to discard that Spike Myth. You may have trouble finding it in the future because then you'd have like 1 Spike Myth left, the Ultra Ball in deck, and then the 1 Grimmsnarl. And here, grabbing the Grimmsnarl, I think grabbing it means you're probably going to play it just because you have to be careful of keeping cards in your hand against Absol as they can just rip out those resources.
Just going to consider the options, see what's in hand. Not much, as we noted. There is that Dark Energy, which was played down into the Monkey Dory. So there it is, Punk up, powering up the Marnie's Pokemon. It will just be the Grimmsnarl at this point. So both Grimmsnarl now ready to go. And Zach, as you mentioned, is going to have a big turn here, taking 4 prize cards if he so chooses to. And it also forces Nathan to have a way to establish another Monkey Dory to KO a Mega Pokemon. And additionally here, I guess it doesn't matter since the Shadow Bullet has to put damage on the board. So there is a world where, you know, if that wasn't the case, you play around something like a double Adrenabrain KO, but there will be at least 6 damage counters to move on the following turn for Nathan. So immediately now it seems that the ball has been completely in Zach's court here in this first game.
Yeah, and Zach's starting to move that damage over to the Monkey Dory. See that it looks like he's going for that 4 prize turn. I mean, getting rid of that Adrenabrain is honestly the biggest part of the turn. I mean, the prize is nice, but really just having that Monkey Dory advantage is so big, and it kind of seems like he knows that Nathan's on the 2 Monkey Dory, has been kind of abusing that fact the last few games, it feels.
So Zach taking a huge prize lead, just 2 prize cards now away from securing the second game. Nathan does top deck another Erica's Invitation, but with his bench being full, we kind of see how that card can lack power towards the middle to end game here.
Yeah, and looking to bench Pheasantipity feels really bad when there's these Monkey Dories and Grimmsnarl already ready. I mean, Zach's just a boss away from winning the game now. Maybe looking to find a Bravery Charm on it, but already down 1. Could be difficult. Draws the Precious Trolley. Could potentially get Petra and Kangaskhan to draw some more cards. Attaching to the Veltal, maybe looking to clutch, buy some time, but Zach just has more Monkey Dories than Nathan, so this feels like he's just going to have so much damage flooding his board and have to use a lot of resources to kind of keep this clutch line up.
Yeah, Nathan does have a Night Stretcher in hand for Monkey Dory for next turn. Did already commit the energy attachment. If there's something like an Arven, though, could energy switch something off of the Mega Absol maybe to then re-pop this? It's just so tough. It's actually just going to use Boss's Orders, not even using the Counter Catcher in this spot. So for the time being, Zach is not playing any cards like Switch to get this Frostlass out, so it can be trapped in the active spot. And like you mentioned, though, the Monkey Dory War are very important in this situation. Zach's going to be able to throw more damage counters over to Nathan's side, and also is just 2 prize cards away from winning this game.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw a boss in Zach's hand, so if Nathan ever leaves up this lock or gives up this lock or doesn't Iono, I mean, Zach's just going to have the knockout on the Pheasantipity, but even then, still just going to probably start loading up damage on this Monkey Dory on the bench, which is still taking Frostlass damage, just to make it so that Zach only needs 1 prize, can maybe take it as a Veltal at some point. This Frostlass can't be trapped forever. It only has 90 HP. That's only like 5 turns that can be clutch for, or 4 turns that can be clutch for before getting knocked out.
Zach will play Arven as a supporter for choice, just grabbing some pieces from the deck. Undesirable is just cards to not want to be drawn into. Also, cards that are in your hand, if you do get Iono'd, you wouldn't draw into those cards. So, nice little thinning tactic here from Zach. It's not really getting him anywhere, but there's not very much of a place to go at this point. We're very much in Frostlass's domain, chilling on the bench, and is even considering putting another Frostlass into play, just really trying to lean into that Monkey Dory advantage.
Yeah, I mean, having the extra Monkey Dory means you're going to be super ahead on the damage on this Monkey Dory. I mean, putting 6 damage now, it'll be going up to 9 in between turns, meaning even if Nathan's able to get another Monkey Dory, it'll go back to 5 going into Zach's turn, which means 2 Monkey Dories will knock it out, and then Zach will be back ahead on the Monkey Dory race. And then there's just another Monkey Dory taking so much damage on the bench, and Zach's at 1 prize at that point.
So many damage counters being thrown back and forth between Pokemon. It can get a little overwhelming, that is for sure. So, as the time being, Nathan has bought some time with, you know, allowing himself to get the second Monkey Dory into play, but it could just be all for naught if this monkey does fall the next turn, which it seems like is almost a certainty.
Yeah, I mean, Zach this game, just the complete opposite from last game, where he's kind of found all these pieces that he wants, having more Monkey Dories than Nathan, all these Grimmsnarls, just being able to keep up that pressure. And Nathan with some pretty poor draws, not being able to use the Precious Trolley or Turbo Energize early, not having enough energies in play to attack, use a bunch of Adrenabrains, and kind of alleviate some of that pressure that's being put on.
So just thinking now about where to place damage counters for the turn, and actually he's going to be taking it off the Pheasantipity, so basically conceding to the fact that this Monkey Dory will fall this turn. And this is going to be putting damage counters onto the other monkey, so we'll actually be recycling Monkey Dory, so Penny is now coming into play to essentially negate Zach's entire last turn of moving counters to it.
Yeah, but at the same time, using this Penny and reattaching to the Monkey Dory, it's not progressing Nathan's board at all. I mean, his board just has less damage on it. It's still exactly the same. No extra energies, no extra cards. Taking a prize in between turns. So we'll see if it's enough, but...
It is also taking valuable time off the clock, Piper.
Yeah.
We're just under 15 minutes left in this round, and at least for Zach in this spot, you know, a tie does, you know, not knock both players out of contention for top cut, but you know, Zach would really just like to get a win in this spot and pretty much just secure himself a spot into this asymmetrical top cut.
Absolutely. And one interesting thing to note is now these Grimmsnarls are at 60 damage each. One more Frostlass ping means that Terminal Period isn't going to be enough to knock them out. So maybe there's enough damage that Claw of Darkness will, and some Monkey Dory damage will be able to knock them out, but that just makes everything a little bit harder for Nathan. I mean, he's going to have to attach to that Absol again instead of a Monkey Dory. And 50 damage on this Monkey Dory now. Means that it's kind of just in a similar spot to last turn.
Yeah, it really depends now, too, if Zach can just find another Monkey Dory and continue to put this pressure on with Adrenabrain. If not, though, then Nathan would take the lead in terms of Monkey Dory. So huge turn here for Zach, and is actually just going to play Boss's Orders to try and stall a turn out here, but that is a valuable resource that could be important later on in the game, now gone into the discard pile.
Yeah, and not finding a second Monkey Dory means that these 2 Frostlass are just building so much damage on his board. It feels like maybe he should have been a bit more patient and kept that 1 Frostlass on the board last turn, or maybe gone for that second monkey here to alleviate some of that pressure. I mean, we see time and time again, like, if Grimmsnarl's monkeys get targeted with 2 Frostlass in play, the damage just becomes too much for them as well. It's a really interesting balance of managing damage on your board and your opponent's. But moving over to Nathan's turn, I think Zach's here trying to force a retreat here, kind of maybe figuring out that the Latias is prize for Nathan.
Yeah, but there is that Precious Trolley in hand, so could find something like the Petron EX. It would take counters on both Pokemon, right? Onto it for itself because of that ability, and also onto the Pokemon that is promoted, like this Yveltal, thanks to that poison. But it seems like there's really no other choice. Actually going to consider retreating this energy off. So foregoing a Adrenabrain until next turn, did already use that before using the Adrenabrain and then retreating. So getting full effect of that ability before it's gone.
Yeah,
Actually
and
not using the second Adrenabrain either, it seems like. Gonna just take a KO on the Monkey Dory and just allow more damage counters to be built up on his board. And it seems like the tides are slowly starting to turn here in this game.
yeah, I mean, we went from Zach having 2 Monkey Dories and Nathan having 0 to Nathan building up 2, but 1 getting knocked out. And now Nathan is just ahead on Monkey Dory. Zach is out of them. And if he benches them again, it's going to start to give Nathan more ways to get back in the game as they take damage. And Nathan has his Adrenabrains to just put so much pressure on them.
Yeah, and a big factor that we didn't really touch on too much is this energy attachment to the Frostlass. It seems like if it was just onto a Monkey Dory instead, would have been a huge difference maker in this spot.
Yeah, attach it to use that Technical Machine Evolution instead of the second Frostlass, but that second Frostlass kind of bit Zach in, and he like wasn't able to keep the damage off his Monkey Dory, so Nathan was able to knock them out and regain that advantage. And then maybe could have reestablished with that Dark Energy instead.
Yeah, and absolutely nothing here for Zach. Nest Balls that can't find relevant Pokemon, and just going to be passing the turn back over. The tides have completely shifted in this game, as Nathan, if he can establish this second Monkey Dory, can continue to buy time, trapping these Frostlass in the active and slowly pinging away at these Grimmsnarl.
Yeah, and Nathan top decking that Night Stretcher means he's going to have access to Dark Energy. and might be able to put together a 4-prize turn in the next few turns. I mean, move 60 damage to the bench Frostlass this turn and clutch, then use 1 Adrenabrain to each Frostlass, knocking them out. Both these Grimstars have 120 damage, which means if you can find another energy next turn, can Claw of Darkness and knock out whatever Grimstar gets promoted.
Yeah, just needs to take 4 prizes, so can even just go in between trapping another Frostlass as well, and just placing damage counters between both and a single Grimstar. It even has Cypher Maniac's code breaking to just put a powerful supporter card on top to assist for future turns. Even something like Boss's Orders, it seems, to trap that second Frostlass. It seems like this Frostlass or the pair may never move for the entirety of this game until it's all over.
Yeah, the Cypher Maniacs is just closing the doors for Zach. I mean, Nathan doesn't have any ways to draw on his board. These cards are just going to the top, which means Iono is going to give him those cards immediately. So Iono isn't it out to try to stop him from winning on the next turn. Just trying to give, Nathan's trying to give himself as many options as possible with Penny and Arvin, I believe. Kind of just prepping for whatever Zach does on his turn.
Yeah, can still use those counter catcher, right? Since the prizes haven't been taken. So this is a really interesting choice. The one thing to think about, though, putting Arvin on top instead of Boss is you would actually shuffle the deck. And that is maybe a reason that Boss could be potentially better in this spot. We'll have to see if that bites Nathan a little bit in this position. Does also have an energy card for next turn if he wants to commit that somewhere. And we'll see this start to see the damage slowly build up on Grimstar. We may see it fall without ever being damaged by an attack in this spot.
Yeah, I wonder if this damage is unnecessary on the Grimstar. Maybe going for that Frostlass double knockout I mentioned earlier, but could also just play a bit more patiently and win over a couple turns rather than maybe Zach having some way to get out of a lock.
And what can Zach find here? Has Arvin plus Nest Ball? If there is a Night Stretcher that would allow an Adrenabrain to be used, but it may just be for naught. Both Monkey Dory's out of range as it stands for being KO'd. And while the Monkey Dory on Zach's side would be safe the following turn, right? 2 damage counters in between both turns is 4, plus 2 Adrenabrains is 6. It would survive with 10 HP remaining. You're not really getting anywhere. You would take a prize card, but you'd still be 1 prize card away on the following turn. Zach's still got to play to his outs in this spot. We'll see the Nest Ball grab Monkey Dory, the Dark Energy be grabbed thanks to that Night Stretcher, but is it just too little too late in this position?
Yeah, the second Frostlass was really just a key moment. I mean, there's so much damage on Zach's board. It'd be like almost halved if there wasn't that second Frostlass. So just kind of going back to that turn, and now that Frostlass can also be trapped again if Nathan wants more time to just abuse this Monkey Dory advantage.
So we'll decide to take damage counters off of the more heavily damaged Grimsnarl EX, putting it onto Monkey Dory. We'll go to 7 and then 9 in between turns. So with double Adrenabrain, plus Frostlass Freezing Shroud, it would mean that another Monkey Dory could take it out, but without that, it's going to just be able to hang on here. So we'll see what Nathan did put on the top of the deck. If it was that Arvin, it would force the deck to be shuffled.
Looks like it was Boss's Orders.
Yeah, and I like this choice a lot more, right? Being able to keep that second card on top is a huge factor to just allow you to have perfect top decks in consecutive turns.
Yeah, Nathan here just has to be careful with where he moves the damage off. This Pheasantipity is starting to take a lot of damage, and Zach had 2 prizes. If he can set up another Monkey Dory, may be able to do enough damage. So it's just Nathan needs to heal this Monkey Dory and the Pheasantipity this turn. Make sure those get healed and is probably in the clear. Looking pretty safe. Trap the Frostlass again, the other Frostlass.
If you don't heal off 6 damage counters from this Monkey, though, it would fall to an Adrenabrain next turn, right? At 9, it goes to 6 double ticks from Frostlass and then 1 Adrenabrain. So how do you balance the overwhelming amount of damage counters that Frostlass is putting into this snowy blizzard terrain?
Yeah, this Pheasantipity, though, at 120 will be going to 140, and then going back into Nathan's turn, 160. So if Zach can find a second Monkey Dory next turn, we'll be able to take a knockout in between turns and take those last 2 prizes.
Okay, so wow, Zach has found himself a potential option here. We'll see Boss's Orders bring up this Frostlass, and here we go. If Zach can find that combination, then all of a sudden can sneak away a knockout, and this bird will not be able to fly anymore. Its wings completely frozen. What does he find off the top?
Top decks of Lilies can find 6 new cards to try to find the Monkey Dory Dark. Nathan missing that the Pheasantipity can get knocked out now. It's just, can Zach find those pieces? He's down a lot of Dark Energy, 6 in play. I think a couple in discard pile, 2 Night Stretchers in the discard, 2 and 2 Monkey Dories. It's not a lot of pieces left, but his deck's not too thin, or not too thick either. A lot of thinning done through Spike with Jim, Punk Up, all these cards. We'll see if he can find that Monkey Dory Dark Energy.
Would love to see how many Dark Energy are in the discard pile here. That is definitely a huge key. There's 6 in play. Can he find it? Dark Energy, Ultra Ball! If Zach has the Monkey Dory in deck, then that will be the game. 2 Adrenabrains to move 6 damage counters to the Monkey Dory, and there's only 2 in the discard pile, so I think he's got 1 left.
It's just, does he see it? Goes for the Ultra Ball.
If he can find the Monkey Dory plus Dark, that's going to be the game here. Can Zach spot it? He's looking over at the bench, seeing if that Pheasantipity can fall. Just making sure. Pheasantipity with 70 HP left. Dark Energy, 6 damage counters. Freezing Shroud double tick. And Nathan Ginsburg misses that bird is going to be frozen, caved up in ice, and stealing the game away in this blizzard terrain.
What a crazy game. I mean, Zach just got off to such a good start compared to Nathan's board, but Nathan was able to claw back with the clutch from Yveltal, really slowing down Zach and building up a ton of damage from those Frost Lasses, eventually getting to have more Monkey Dories, but just a little bit of a miscalculation. I mean, so much damage to focus on. Have to keep the Monkey Dory safe, the Pheasantipity safe, and just missed that the Pheasantipity was in range, and Zach was able to take advantage of that, top decks the Lilies, and finds that Monkey Dory Dark.
Yeah, and went out of his way to bench that Pheasantipity. If he had just avoided putting that into play, there was no use of using Flip the Script at any point in this game. It just feels like a missed opportunity and something that is so hard to see down the line, but if he had spotted it, would have essentially locked himself this game up.
Yeah, it's really hard to see in the future against Grimmsnarl, but that's kind of what you have to do against all this damage. And looking at this game, yeah, we saw that 4-prize turn, knocking out the Kangaskhan and Monkey Dory, not only giving Zach 4 prizes, but giving the Monkey advantage and getting rid of draw from Nathan's board. Then we see Nathan go into that clutch strategy, just locking those Frost Lasses in play, and with so much damage on the board, Nathan was able to buy a lot of time, get that Monkey advantage back from Zach, and just take his time, build up a lot of damage, but misses that the Pheasantipity can get knocked out. Zach top decks the Lilies and finds the Monkey Dark, able to win the game on this last turn.
Yeah, what a way to steal things away. Completely tides shifting back and forth. That's what we love about the Pokemon TCG. So going into Game 3, Nathan will get to go second this time. That is a huge advantage here. Let's see what Zach has to work with. Does have to put Artisan into play, so that will be a guaranteed Monkey Dory here for Nathan on turn number 1.
Yeah, and Zach doesn't look like he found Secret Box this time. Luck balancing out a bit, but this Artisan could find that Impidimp, a Monkey Dory, 2 Monkey Dories prize, and that Budu again.
And the Precious Trolley over on Nathan's side as well.
Wow. I mean, I was going to say the Budu's bad because can't lock Nathan if he whiffs that Precious Trolley, but he's guaranteed to whiff the Precious Trolley with it prized. And the 2 Monkey Dory could be a little annoying in the future, but other than that, I mean, compared to the Precious Trolley being prized, it's just so rough. Yeah,
Precious Trolley, a huge key card as that ace-spec of choice for Nathan to just get these basic Pokemon into play. We haven't even seen it be used so far in this set, Piper, so who knows? Maybe we won't need to see it come into play here. And despite the Frostlass being so scary in that first game, we're going to see double Snorunt benched again here in game number 3.
Yeah, I mean, that damage buildup did end up working out on that Pheasantipity. It's just making sure you have enough bench space for enough monkeys to keep your board safe as well is the big thing to watch out for Zach.
And Nathan did have the Arven in hand, but no energy card. And no way to find another Pokemon as well here. Let's see what he decides to do instead. Is debating what Pokemon to grab. Immediately puts the Genesect with that Ace Nullifier ability up into the top of the deck.
Yeah, I mean, has an Arven in hand, but notices that Precious Trolley's prize. I mean, trying to just limit Zach's options of finding that rare candy and trying to steal this game in the last couple minutes, right? Only these Yveltal and Genesect in play both get knocked out by the Shadow Bullet. So could potentially be a way for Zach to win. Nathan just trying to play it as safe as possible. Probably looking to Arven for a Nest Ball, get the Kangaskhan out, draw some cards. Maybe find the energy to use Energize, but grabbing a Bravery Charm, going for that Genesect.
Yeah, you immediately see the smile. You know something's up when your opponent uses Arven and grabs Nest Ball instead of Precious Trolley.
Absolutely. I mean, now Zach knows that doesn't have to find that Budu, even though it's prized, but is there enough time for Zach to take advantage of this Precious Trolley is the question that remains. Yeah,
it's going to be even harder, right, with that Ace Nullifier shutting down Ace Specs on Zach's side. It's going to be way more unlikely for him to, you know, get into something like a turn 2 Shadow Bullet, right? That would definitely be the easiest opportunity to try and take some pace advantage. But like you mentioned, Piper, we're at just over 2 minutes remaining in this round. And with how long those previous 2 games are, not to be a Debbie Downer, but it does seem like there's a high chance this game will draw. Both players accepting that with the time on the clock. We will just see them kind of pick their cards up except that they are still in the tournament at a solid amount of match points. So Nathan advancing to 30 match points, and Zach will be at 31 match points, meaning that Zach will have to just win one of the next 2 rounds to essentially lock himself a spot up in asymmetrical top.